Okay, Mono by Melenial seeks to invite the most accomplished young South Africans in the various fields to contribute to national and global conversations by using their stories about their journeys, challenges, successes, and dreams to an audience of their peers, admirers, and the media for 30 minutes. The remaining time will be used for a Q&A, which you guys will be asking Luyanda various questions that you would like to know, or just to say what you felt about the talk. It's just basically a time for us to share and collaborate and just speak about tonight, what happened, or any other things that you guys want to bring up. Melenial Media is a media company that seeks to create content and build platforms that relate to relate and reflect Mzansi's melanin millennials. Luyanda, our guest for this evening, is a young entrepreneur that really optimizes hard work, determination, and perseverance. She has notably used her digital platforms to propel her cooking business, attract the right audience and customer base, and expose her brand to household brands such as Woolworths, whom Luyanda has collaborated with in the past. Luyanda will speak for about 20 to 30 minutes, and then that's when we'll have our Q&A after. So without further ado, we'll introduce Luyanda, chef and blogger, and entrepreneur extraordinaire. Thank you.
Thank you. My gosh. This is the first talk and stuff I've ever done. So this is not going to be perfect. But I'm so glad you guys came out today to see me and listen to me speak and try maybe get some knowledge or get some insight on what I do and just food and business and social media. So I hope it's helpful. So to start with, I'm going to start with how I got into food and blogging. And it's a very simple story. I was cooking at school. So I used to do a lot of cooking in varsity when I was at UJ. And I literally used to be like, okay, what am I going to try today? Let me figure it out. And I used to make these random meals, and I used to take pictures and I used to just tweet them. And actually, when I look at the tweets today, like when I go back and look at those food pics, they are awful because the plating was wrong. First of all, the plates are wrong. Everything is just, it was bad. But like when I think about my journey, that's how I started. I just used to cook, take a picture, post on Twitter, and that was me. And then when I fell into food, when I fell truly in love with food, it was after my grandmother passed away. So my granny used to cook, and she was very much a foodie and a traveler. So she liked traveling, she liked good food, she liked cooking. That's all I know from growing up, like my grand cooking or baking or both. Because always knew when you get there, the dining room table, she's gonna pack up for us, it's gonna be a good time. So I've always known good food. I've grew up having nice food. I didn't grow up with tin beef or anything. My grand liked to be fancy. she liked to make like roast, like pot roast today. I'm gonna make some duck fat potatoes. And that was her because she used to like traveling and she used to take what she learned through her travels and brought them home. So I've always known food. And when she passed away, I used food as a form of therapy. So I cooked a lot. So if I remember correctly, she passed away in May, and then the month after I went to London for my 21st birthday. And when I got there, I was like to my aunt, can we go to the shops? I want to try these recipes. And I made my aunt buy me all these ingredients, and I just started cooking every single day. I tried lamb chops, I tried Asian, I tried different types of food, and I was like, okay, this is nice. So I used her passing as a form of therapy. So I used to deal and feel better by cooking. And then I think that's it. That's how it started. So I will say 2015 was a turning point because that's where food became something that I needed in my life. And I started posting more people wanted to see my food. So everyone was like, okay, let's let's see your recipes. Can we see more pics? What did you make today? And I'm just posting dinners, and I'm like, okay, cool. Now, too many people asking me for recipes right now. I can't handle giving individual people recipes. Then I started a blog. Started my blog, and I didn't know what to call it. I remember I was juggling names. That's why Cooking with Luyanda is it now, because I'm not that creative. So at the time, I was just trying to think of something quick to decide, okay, something that's going to make my food and thing work together. Let's try Cooking with Luyanda. I did that. I started my blog and literally started writing my recipes and posting. And so people started following me. And I don't think I have a formula for getting more followers with regards to food. I think just be yourself and do things as you would naturally. So I just used to post at dinner time, I used to post at lunchtime, and more people followed. And then slowly I started figuring out the patterns of when to post to get the most type of likes, so I know in the afternoon, let's say between 12 o'clock and 5 p.m., this is a sweet spot for posting my recipes and my dishes, because a lot of people at work, they're using their Wi-Fi, they're on social media, so a lot of people notice and see, okay, so I started noticing, if you post at 8 p.m. after hours, chances are people watching Generations, people are watching Isibaya. So I started noticing the patterns. You can't do really early, people in traffic, people just settling into work. So I started finding the sweet spot. So it was always between midday and 5 p.m. People at work, they're on Wi-Fi, people have time to just check. At lunchtime, they can just check a post or whatever. So then that's what I used to my advantage. And I started noticing, okay, then I started learning how to take good pics. If you guys see my, let's say, 2015 and 2016 pics compared to 2017 and 2018, it's a different ball game. I started using lighting, I started learning, okay, so if I'm gonna take food pics, when is the right time? Nighttime pics are terrible. The lighting is not natural, now you must edit, and it doesn't look as inviting as if you waited until the sun is up and you're using natural lighting to take your pictures. And that's how I started learning and figuring things out. So I had to trial and error basically. And then, so I also use YouTube a lot. YouTube is a perfect tool. A lot of things that I've learned for myself, because I'm self-taught, I'm not qualified chef. I go on YouTube, figure things out, figure out how to take food pics, figure out how to food style, and it all happened from there. And it just grew in itself. So I like to say that the food and the business just came together and it just drove itself. I'm controlling the journey, but it came together in itself. And yeah, let me quickly, I had a plan of how I was gonna say this. So just checking that I've touched on what I really wanted to do. Okay, cool. So, and then everyone knows I did the Casper thing where I tweeted Casper and I said, how many retweets for me to cook to be your private chef, basically. And then that tweet, if I tweeted that at 12 a.m., I was really bored one night, and I'm like, okay, let me just try this. No one noticed my tweets. I tweeted at 2 a.m., it had 2 retweets when I went to bed. I was like, okay, this is nothing. And then during the day, now it's picking up, and then he responded, and I'm like, oh my gosh. And then he responded, and he's like, 10,000. And I'm like, you should have seen my face. I was like, okay, how am I supposed to get 10,000? I think at the time I had 8,000 followers. So I was like, even if all my followers decided to retweet this, I'm not even going to have the 10,000. And then next thing, in a few hours, my phone is freezing. I'm like, oh my gosh, what is happening? Hey, 10,000 retweets are here. I'm like, yes. And then all these followers had also come on board. I'm like, oh my gosh. And then all this media and attention came through, and I'm like, okay. Now what to do? Advertise my business. Now I'm utilizing all the attention that I'm getting, I'm like, okay, I'm not advertising my business. I'm not always posting all my food and retweeting, because now all the attention on me, people want to know what's cooking with Luyanda, who's cooking with Luyanda. And I'm like, okay, let me add more pictures, let me interact with more people. And it's I don't know, it just grew in itself. And you know, when people ask me how I got so many followers, I'm always like, I don't know. All I can say is I'm consistent. I always post. You can't go a week and I'm on your timeline without seeing my food pics. If you have, maybe I was sick. But in general, you can't go even a week without me posting food. Oh my gosh, I want to try this. Oh my gosh, I feel like this. Oh my gosh, I'm craving this. And I think the followership and the business grew in itself because people could see how passionate and how food is just my life. It's my everyday life. This is what I think of. This is what I'm dreaming of. And this is what I'm doing. So if you think of Luyanda, you think of food. You don't think of anything else. Like, I don't know if anyone thinks of anything else. You probably look at me and think, okay, that's the food girl. What are you gonna cook for me? And that's what people see. When people see me, they're like, okay, when are you gonna cook for me? What are you gonna, so my social media, it has made me someone who's recognizable and a person that is just food. I am food. And so I used social media as a marketing tool. So now social media is this big thing where people do marketing, they show off their work, they utilize it to their advantage, because you know your client base is on social media now. And before, back when I started, it was a few people. I had a few hundred followers, and because social media is a place where now people view things, social media should be your lookbook. It should be your image, how people view you. So I use social media to my advantage, and it's growing right now. So, and the growth, people had known me, how I used to cook, how I've come to cook, and how I cook every day. And it's been a tool that has worked to my advantage. If I want more business, I just set up an old post, show my old work, I post it. If I want more followers, for example, I will post new work, I'll post recipes, like give the people what they want. You know how Bonang says, Bafe. I give them what they want. People want recipes, people want food at their doorstep, people want to see pretty food, people want to try food. So give people what they want, literally. So, and I've figured out how to do that. So I know if I haven't cooked for too long, maybe because I'm tired, maybe I'm too busy, I throw in a cook recipe. People are like, oh yes, it's perfect. Because with the growing times now, people are very into food and knowing how to cook good food, knowing how to eat healthy, knowing how to make food. So I've used that to my advantage. Give them what people want. So I've learned how to gauge what most people want to learn, and I use that to my advantage. So I know based on comments and replies, people want to know how to make meals quickly, how to make what can I make after work? How do I make healthy meals? I'm on a diet, how do I try? So I'm like, okay. So based on responses and how people interact, I figured out how to create and give them the content that would make them happy. So the other day I did a 30-minute recipe. Everyone was so fascinated. How do you cook this? Just put it all in a tray, put it in the oven quick. And that's what people want, because people come out of work, they don't want to cook, they're not trying to start from scratch. I'm not going to make oxtail, I'm not going to make a stew after a hectic Monday. I want something that is easy. Cool, here it is. I've given them what they've been wanting to see. And that grows followership. Like, your followers actually grow because you don't realize how many people are looking for convenience and things that they can do quickly. Next, there's so many gym heads now. Everyone's gym, everyone's trying to clean, eat. Use that to your advantage. Make more green recipes, more healthy. Show them, okay, you don't, like, healthy food does not have to be boring. You can make anything taste good. You can use leftovers. People don't realize making salads doesn't have to be tomatoes, feta, olives, whatever. Try things. Use roast veg. Use a grain. Use quinoa. Use barley weeds. And I've noticed. So I like to be creative with my health side because I know there's also people looking for health. So in a sense, I figured out to give people what they want. So if I had to give you pointers on how to grow your social media into your business, number one, I'll always say be authentic. Do not lose yourself. Don't force trying to get retweets. Don't force, I need to get numbers. Because when you start banking on, I need this many retweets, I need these many likes, I need to get this many, it's just not gonna work. I never banked on that. It happened in itself. It grew on its own because I was just doing things for me and what makes me happy. So when you do these things, be passionate. So be authentic, be passionate. It must be you. People must sense it from you. They mustn't say, oh no, she just got into food blogging or fashion blogging because she saw that you get free stuff and she saw that you get, no. Do things naturally and authentically and everything just comes together in itself. People can sense, like people can tell when you're not being real, when you're doing it for, oh, okay, cool, no, be yourself. Another thing I would say is quality. Your work must always be good quality. It must be, if a magazine wants to use it, it should be at a good quality or whatever. But I don't want to say it's going to happen like that. It's not going to start like that because I started with my camera. I started using my 5C iPhone. So like even the quality, it grows in itself. So also don't rush your process. Don't try to be like, I'm starting off, I'm going to get like a 5D Canon. No, don't stress yourself. Use a phone, use whatever you need, and then build. Things will grow and come together in itself. Another thing I'll say is be consistent because people have a short attention span in a sense. So don't give them enough time to forget you. I never do. You will know Cookie with Luyanda, it was back on your timeline. Even if I'm on holiday and I'm chilling, I will somehow find a food pic to take. Even if it means I'm taking a picture of McDonald's in a different city just to keep people remembering because you don't want anyone to forget and move on because at the end of the day, there's competition, there's more people, there's more bloggers. So what are you doing to keep your followers and your potential clients and market happy? What else? I think that's it. Be authentic, be consistent, and always have a good quality. Yeah, that is one thing I can say. And just remember that social media be careful of social media. That's another thing I need to tell you because as Dr. Cindy will say, social media has no context. So what you say now, someone can use in a year, in 10 years' time, in 15 years. People just use a screenshot. They'll just take a screenshot to be like, oh no, but once this person said this, and then you can't explain. 15 years later, you're trying to explain that you said, oh no, this guy, Woolworths is horrible, and now you're using Woolworths, you're trying to tweet, you're trying to say, oh no, Woolworths is the best brand in the world. And then it takes one person just screenshots and be like, okay, but wait, you just said this. And not everyone has the mind to register that, no, the mindset I was in back then is not the same as I am right now. You know, just be like, oh no, she's a hypocrite. So I just want you guys also, if you are into getting social media and your business together, be careful of what you say, what you post, how you interact, because people will always use it against you, and yeah, it's not nice when they do. But I don't know what else I can say about my journey. I'm guessing everyone wants to know about my campaigns as well, because I've had a few. I've done Woolworths. I did a Woolworths campaign, and that Woolworths campaign came at a time when I had just started meal prepping, and I was like, oh, hey, so that's that thing of giving people what they want, of, oh, Luyanda keeps on posting healthy, next thing, here's a knock on the door, Woolworths wants to do a campaign, a health campaign with you, because, oh, you've been doing this healthy stuff, so we can see that you have the knowledge. And that campaign came. I've also worked with Knorr. I did an amazing demo with Knorr where I was actually not even in the roster to do a demo. I was in the audience, chilling with my mom, eating, and then Dash was like, "Oh, don't you want to try one of the demos for one of the pastors?" I'm like, "Oh my gosh!" And then I was like, "Okay, you know what? Let me just try and see what happens because." I've never done a demo. I want to see how it is. I want to experiment. And I like to say I've done things. I like to, even this is my first talk. I've never done a talk because I'm so shy. And I was like, you know what? If I just do it once in my life, it's okay. Let me try. Let me maybe give people some insight. So I worked with Knorr. I ended up on Afternoon Express through my Willow's campaign and also through my own capacity. I've done Crazy, Mzansi Insider, I've been a Mail and Guardian, and quite a few media houses and shows. And I'm glad to have worked with those brands at my age because it just shows you how my journey is so early and I'm working really hard and I'm driving it in the right direction because imagine in 2 more years, in 5 more years, where I'll be. I don't even want to think of it. And I think social media has played a big and positive part in my business because it has grown and propelled me into a place that I never thought I'd be 2 years ago, a year ago. 2 years ago, I was in my varsity res, I was cooking, and today I'm busy cooking for people. I'm cooking for Casper. I'm cooking for celebs. I cook for American celebs who are on ballers. I was like, oh my God, is this me? And I wouldn't have thought that 2 years ago. And social media has done that for me because if I think of how I got to cook for the Americans, it was through my friend Luyanda, who's a chef who I met on social media, who gave me my first private chefing job. And it's like all these things, like it's all coming together, it's like a big web. And social media has been such an important part of my business and my journey. And if you use it properly, you'll succeed.